Hola amigos, bien ok. Y saludos otra vez desde Medellín. Hoy poquito cambio en el formo. Yo voy a hablar un poquito con algunos grupos de parábolas, en específico estas dos parábolas, que nosotros utilizamos muchas veces en combinación um, juntos o con otras parábolas para formar muchas expresiones comunes en inglés. So es para demostrar estos y también para demostrar algunos otros ejemplos en cómo la sentir con la oración puede cambiar cuando tú utilizas la otra parábola casi con la opuesto. Listo. Es el tema de hoy. So, hello everybody. I hope you're well. Welcome back to Medellin. Today, a bit of a difference. Not on the terrace. Don't get the Christmas lights, but we're going to look at kind of looking at patterns we spot in the language. I'm going to use the example of in and out, two very short, very commonly used words. Often we use them as well, what we say is like a prefix, really, a little word we add on the front of other words, put them together, start making phrases that are very commonly used. Now, I'm going to go through a couple of examples of these phrases, and you might note sometimes, even though we use these as like opposites ordinarily, sometimes the meaning, the sense of what we mean by changing the phrase, by adding the other word, can be a bit different. But it's a good way to really amplify your vocabulary and at the same time start looking at very commonly used phrases. So if you look through your normal dictionary, you'll start spotting some of these often quite small words have huge listings in the dictionary because the word itself is used in combination with other words and phrases very often. So we'll start with these, in and out. No, easy enough, yeah? So we have phrases like this. I mean, recently we have just welcomed in 2024. We've celebrated the new year. We've welcomed it in. Obviously the obvious one is we're inside today. We're not outside. So we're inside the building, not outside. Although obviously we can also use this as a phrase of saying something is inside out. So this is my t-shirt with the slogan on the front. If I were effectively the wrong way around, we could say it was inside out because the inside would be outside. Another phrase you see unfortunately quite a lot, particularly when things are undergoing repair or maintenance. So you go to the drinks machine and there's a big sticker on it and it says out of order, can't get your coffee. But interestingly, if we reverse that, we don't say in of order, we would say it's in order, but we don't really use that. We would just say it's working, the machine is working. But we can put things in order. So we can organise things. What we mean by that is it's organising, it's working. So you might have heard the phrase clearly, alphabetical order. So I can put all the books or the filing I have in alphabetical order. A, B, C, D, yeah? Interestingly, if we reverse this phrase, in order, and we call it order in, if we order in something, this is like us buying food for delivery. So we're literally ordering in, or into our house, or the location we're at, some food. So we're going to order in, we're going to get takeaway food, get it delivered, yeah? Another use of out is you can be outcast. And you might say, what does that mean, outcast? Well, if you remember that to cast something is really like to throw something. And if you cast something out, you throw it away. If you are an outcast, you are a person, unfortunately, who has been exiled from his country. You're an outcast. No one will speak to you ever again. Another commonly used phrase is outreach. Outreach, what does that mean? Well, usually this is used when perhaps, let's say someone like the mayor or a government or something like that, they're doing like a community outreach, or a company perhaps. So they're looking to do something nice for the community that surrounds them, or they're looking to come into more contact with a particular group of people usually. Yeah, it's outreach. But obviously to reach out is literally stretch for something, to reach out to the top shelf for something in the supermarket. Whereas if you reach in, that's more like you're reaching inside a container to get something from the bottom of it. I'm reaching in to get something. Of course, if you're out of reach, literally can't reach it, too far away, but also this means really out of contact. So I was out of reach because you couldn't phone me because where I was so far away there was no signal. So I'm out of contact. So I'm out of reach. Or of course I could be out of sight, so you can't see me. Now notice in some of these we're adding the word of a lot. This again is another very commonly used word to make up these kind of like compound phrases and sentences. So another common phrase here is out of stock. So when you're going shopping, you're looking for a particular product, maybe you have to ask, do you have this in stock? And they'll say, no, it's out of stock. We don't have it. Yeah, or it could be in stock. So say you're in the supermarket, you're looking for bananas, and you can say, do you have any bananas? And they'll say, no, we're out of stock. We're out of bananas. We're out of bananas. Interestingly, if they have them, they don't say we're in bananas. They would just say that we have bananas, or the bananas are back in stock. And it says they've returned to stock. They're back in stock. Look at these last ones here. Out of print. If you're looking for books, often you might find, if you're trying to search for this, something like Amazon or thereabouts, it might tell you can't buy that book anymore because the book is out of print. They don't have any more available. Well, of course, you could be in print, so it's a new edition. Out to lunch. So literally you could be out having lunch. Also, someone who's out to lunch is someone who's perhaps not fully present when they're talking to you. But if we're just literally out for lunch, we're having lunch outside of the building where we are, we're not in lunch. When we come back, we have come back from lunch. Equally, often we are out of fashion. So maybe what we're wearing isn't quite the mode of the day, so we are out of fashion. Or of course we could be in fashion. I hope I am. And the last kind of one here, take out. So if we take something out, it's like we're removing something. Or perhaps we're taking out the rubbish. We're taking it from inside the house, outside, to throw it away. But obviously if we reverse it and call it an outtake is like in the movies, you get your line wrong, cut, take it again, do a second take, and then they cut that out. That's the outtake. The last one I showed just as an interesting, although we've been using in and out as obvious opposites, sometimes what looks like an obvious opposite isn't always commonly used in a regular way. So like stop and go. Stop, go. Okay, it's obvious opposite. And we have things like a stopwatch, but we don't have a go watch. We just have stopwatch. But we use go perhaps in other phrases like go ahead, like continue. So just be aware of it. But it's an interesting thing to start looking for, because it will help you really amplify your vocabulary, and in the process what you get to see is lots of phrases that we use very commonly, things you're going to hear a lot. Sometimes they're not completely obvious, like outreach, perhaps, these kind of things. So something to look out for. Yeah? Often we're using what looks like quite innocuous, quite small words, generally often quite opposite type of words, and we're adding them to other words slightly changing the meaning and turning them basically into phrases that we use pretty well every day. So that's the tip for the moment. I hope that's useful. Déjame saber en los comentarios. And, well, till tomorrow, we'll say cheerio for now.